Two. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of System Shock Radio, the first official episode of System Shock Radio in a long time. And I, as always, am your host, Nigel, and today we're going to get right into it. So, before we really get into the topics proper for this episode, that is, just a couple things I want to mention. For starters, I have a new schedule when it comes to when I'll be doing System Shock Radio as well as Tales from the Labyrinth. Of course, my posts on like Rated N or Poetry with Nacho Dixie will remain the same when I do post, that is. But as for these two, when I like go live and everything, the new schedule is sort of an alternating like bi-weekly schedule, pretty much an episode of either one every other week. So I'm doing, of course, I'm doing System Shock Radio today, right now, and I won't do the next episode of System Shock Radio for another 2 weeks. But then next week will be Tales from the Labyrinth, which is where I do my poetry readings. So just stay tuned for that. Make sure you look out for that. The other thing is, if you haven't already, I have a Instagram page at the Nigelverse, the underscore Nigelverse, that is, and it archives previous episodes of System Shock Radio, Tales from the Labyrinth, and just some posts to engage you guys. So if you haven't already, go follow that on Instagram. But also, I have a YouTube channel, which is my name, Nigel Dixie, and episodes of System Shock Radio and Tales from the Labyrinth are over there as well. So definitely go check those out if you haven't already. And as always, continue to support, or absolutely love when you guys support and everything. The reactions, likes and stuff, the shares, all that means so much to me. And also, if you have a topic that you want to suggest for System Shock Radio, please feel free to let me know. Put it in the comments below. Inbox me on Messenger or whichever, and I'll consider doing it. But without further ado, let's get into these topics for the day. So, the first topic is something that, of course, happened recently to me, like a week or two ago. And that is that I'm officially 21 years old. So, legal age for a lot of stuff. And so far, being 21 is that's alright. It's it's something that I was always excited about. Growing up is the day I'd finally turned 21, and now that it's here, it doesn't. I'll admit it doesn't feel that much different, but I feel like compared to how things were to maybe 3 years ago, my perspective on a lot of stuff has changed, and I even feel a bit more mature now in my older age. So we'll see what 21 has to offer. But moving on, we're going to talk about perhaps one of the best cartoon shows to exist, and that is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, I watched Avatar recently, the whole series. It is on Netflix at time of this recording, and the thing about Avatar was, growing up as a kid, it was a show I missed out on. I didn't really watch. Why did I not watch it? I couldn't really tell you. Just never around for it, and didn't watch it. But I didn't, of course, watch it until I got older, and I'm glad I did it because it's a really awesome show. When a lot of people say that this is one of if not the best cartoon shows to exist, is they're telling you the absolute truth. And the thing about it is, it's a show it's very what's the word I want to describe? It's a very mixed bag, like, where it's some comedy thrown in, there's some drama thrown in, there's action, there's adventure, or there's character progression, there's character redemption, and it's just such a wonderful show. And I feel like it's a show that everyone should watch. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. If you already watched it, go watch it again because it is that amazing of a show, and it's probably one of my new favorite shows. Probably when people say, like I said, when people say it's one of the best shows, they are telling the absolute truth. So it is on Netflix. So go check it out right now. Like right now. Oh, if you haven't already. Next up, we're going to talk about something else I'm doing in my life, and that is trying to watch the entire MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, for those of you who aren't aware, the MCU is, like the Iron Man movie, Avengers, Captain America. It's pretty much that universe created by, produced, I should say, by, Disney. They own the rights to it now, but I'm trying to watch the entirety of that saga, which they call the Infinity Saga. And I just finished watching Guardians of the Galaxy a few days ago, and so that's where I'm at now. So the next movie I have to watch for it is Avengers: Age of Ultron, and rewatching it, it's such a good experience rewatching these, and just remind you how good these movies were in the first place and why the franchise is as successful as it is. And the thing about how the MCU is that it feels kind of like a slow burn, and you start off with Iron Man, and actually, fun fact, the first movie in the MCU was supposed to be Doctor Strange, but it went to Iron Man, and then you have the Incredible Hulk, which it's canonicity. I think that's the word for it. Whether or not it's actually a part of the MCU, sometimes goes back and forth. Sometimes they recognize it as it's part of the MCU. Other times it's like no, it's not. And of course that's because of the fallout between uh, Paramount, I believe they were producing at the time, and Ed Norton, the guy who not only played Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, in the movie, but also had a hand with its direction. And then there's Thor, and then Captain America, and then there's the Avengers movies. We see the heroes. First, we're introduced to them, and we know what they're all about, and then they gave us the big team up movie. Now, the thing that Warner Brothers is doing with Justice League and Batman and everything is they gave us the big team up movie first, which was Batman vs Superman, and then they tried to backtrack with the Wonder Woman movie and then Aquaman and everything, and it didn't really work, I'm sure, the way they intended it. But whereas with the Marvel movies, we got the build up first, and it made sense to team them all up because we already been introduced to these characters. We know what they're all about. So going back and rewatching those is really fun experience, and cannot wait to get to the end and see how things progress. Now, a lot of these movies I had seen already, but rewatching some of them just make me appreciate them all over again. And the movies I hadn't watched, the MCU, it's really cool to experience those movies. Now, we're next going to move on to WWE 2K22. Now, normally, actually, kind of within like the next couple months, it's around October or November, is when we get the big WWE wrestling game, the wrestling type simulation game from 2K. But this time, it's not going to come out until March of 2022, around WrestleMania season, and it's kind of bittersweet. On one hand, not having the WWE game in its normal slot, in a normal November slot, is going to be kind of weird. But at the same time, look at what happened with 2K20 when they released WWE 2K20, and it was an absolute mess, and it absolutely flopped. It was terrible. It was trash and everything. I feel like they learned their lesson from that, and so they want to take their time with this next game. And I'd rather prefer that they take their time and get this game right, as opposed to releasing an unfinished game. And that's what happened with 2K20. It was obviously unfinished, and it came back to haunt them. So it'll be interesting to see what we get come March of next year. And already from the footage we've seen of 2K22, it already looks really good. And apparently, we're getting GM mode returning in 2K22, which is awesome. And so I'm kind of excited. So let's see where this goes. I'm going to try to be optimistic about this. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about is endurance. Now, what is endurance? So the definition that I've pulled up here is the fact or power of enduring an unpleasant or difficult process or situation without giving way, or denoting or relating to a race or other sporting event that takes place over a long distance or otherwise demands great physical stamina. So, basically, what I gathered from that is that endurance is pushing through hard times and coming out the other side, lasting through what you're going through. And endurance is something that's tough. It's difficult, but when you endure and when you come out, you'll be glad you did. And I know some of you are probably going through something right now. Oh, I'm here to tell you that you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it out the other side, and you're gonna be a better person for it. Now, every situation that we encounter, some of them are kind of easy. We deal with them. Some of them are incredibly difficult, but endure and you'll make it. I promise you. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week with Tales from the Labyrinth. Peace.